Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into a huge topic for any business out there, risk. From cyber attacks to supply chain chaos, the threats, they feel like they're coming from everywhere. But what if you could flip the script? What if you could turn all that uncertainty into a real strategic advantage? Let's get into how that's even possible. All right, let's kick things off with a number that should really make you sit up and pay attention. 41%. A recent report found that 41% of organizations dealt with 3 or more critical risk events in just 1 year. And look, that's not just a statistic on a slide. That's a massive signal that the old ways of managing risk, they just aren't cutting it anymore. And the reason for that urgency is crystal clear when you look at the modern risk landscape. It has become incredibly complex. The sheer number and variety of threats out there mean that those old reactive methods, they just can't keep up. So what is this old way that's failing so badly? Well, for way too many companies, it's a total chaotic mess of spreadsheets, right? Critical information is buried in emails, and different departments are tracking major issues completely on their own. This creates these data silos where nobody, and I mean nobody, has the full picture until, it's way too late. It's really a tale of two worlds here. On one side, you have the old way, which is just fragmented and super inefficient. And on the other, there's this new approach that promises a single, central platform with real-time visibility and slick, streamlined audits. The big question is, how do we get from here to there? Well, the answer is in a specific type of technology, Enterprise Risk Management Software, or ERM for short. It's literally designed to bring order to all that chaos by creating what we call a single source of truth for all things risk. At its very core, this software is basically a centralized hub for every single risk-related activity. So instead of all those scattered files and emails, you get one systematic application to manage the entire life of a threat, all the way from identifying it to finally resolving it. The whole process really boils down to 4 key actions. First, you've got to identify potential threats. Then you analyze them. How likely are they, and what's the potential damage? Next, you create a clear, actionable plan to mitigate them. And finally, the most important part, you monitor everything in real time. It's a continuous, proactive cycle. So, what does this digital control tower actually look like in practice? Let's peel back the layers, break down the workflow, and see who's actually using these tools day to day. The process is super logical, and it's a cycle. It all starts with identification, where, by the way, anyone in the company can log an issue they see. Then comes the analysis, where you use cool tools like heat maps to prioritize what's most important. After that, in mitigation, clear action plans are assigned and tracked. And finally, the system just continuously monitors everything, sending out alerts if a situation starts to change. And this isn't just a tool for one department. The CIO is in there for cybersecurity, the CFO is using it to monitor financial risks, and the COO is tracking the supply chain. The real magic here is that it brings all these different leaders from across the business onto a single, collaborative platform, all looking at the same information. And this approach is just incredibly versatile. We're talking about everything from big external risks like market volatility to internal stuff like staff turnover. So whether it's a data breach, a piece of equipment failing, or a new government regulation, it all gets managed in one system. And that's how you get that crucial, holistic view of the business. Now, this all sounds pretty powerful in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's take a quick look at a manufacturing company's story to see the kind of tangible results we're talking about. So before they brought in an ERM platform, this company was living deep in that world of chaos we talked about. Finance had their own spreadsheets. Operations had endless email chains. It literally took them weeks just to put together a simple risk report. And the scary part? Critical threats, like a key supplier about to go bankrupt, were just slipping right through the cracks. But after they implemented the software, wow, the transformation was almost immediate. Managers could log risks directly into the system. Automated alerts would instantly flag high-impact issues. And the execs? They had instant access to dashboards showing the company's top risks. They started catching problems early, way before they could blow up. And get this, here's a metric that really shows the efficiency gain. The company cut the time they spent preparing their quarterly risk reports by 70%. Just think about that. That's all time and energy that could be put back into actually solving problems instead of just chasing down data. And the benefits didn't stop there. By using the data from their risk heat maps, they were able to cut their incident rates by nearly 30%. And overall risk visibility, that's the ability to actually see threats across the entire organization, shot up by a massive 67%. I mean, these are the kinds of numbers that can truly transform a business. This really shows how a platform like this does so much more than just organize data. It fundamentally changes the entire culture. You move from this reactive firefighting mode to a proactive, strategic one, where you're anticipating challenges and responding with a clear plan. And that brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. Effective risk management isn't just about playing defense. It's about using a clear understanding of your risks to actually drive your strategy forward. Ultimately, the goal here is to gain the kind of clarity you need to make bolder, smarter decisions. Think about it. When you have a really firm grasp on your potential downsides, you can go after opportunities with so much more confidence. You can turn all that uncertainty from a source of fear into a true competitive advantage. So, we'll leave you with this one question to think about. Is your organization stuck in that reactive cycle, constantly being surprised by threats? Or are you actively working to turn risk into a strategic advantage that actually fuels your growth? The answer to that could very well define your future.